Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be looking at 11.1 Warlock Tier Test. I swear this is actually not a planned reaction. That seemed terrible. I actually forgot this was here. This is a painting I did on stream a few days ago. I think I actually have the picture here. I do, of THT. I might remove that before next video. It's a thing, it's a goal from December on stream. Yeah. Anyways, today's video is going to be looking at 11.1 PTR Warlock Tier Set testing in both single target and AOE for Destro, Demo, and Aff. I will say Warlock Tier is still not working fully when it comes to dummy testing. Destro only works on PvP dummies. Affliction, it's working, but sometimes spreads UA to odd targets. Demo seems to be working pretty well. So we're going to look at the breakdown of what it does in single target and AoE for every spec and talk about just, I guess, general implications and what it may mean for Warlock heading into patch 11.1. Now, I will say Destruction got some nerfs this past week, and there might have been an unintended over nerf to it, so we're going to hit on that towards the end of the video as well. But if you guys want any weekly rewards or add-ons, links to Twitch, Discord, the website, up here, as well as down below. If you're interested in the 11.1 Warlock PTR spreadsheet, the tier 3 Felgar rank or higher, the Patreon does get early access to that. But heads up, it does go live in public, all for free and everything, before the patch also comes out. It covers raid testing, Mythic Plus testing, gearing, sims, other random things here and there about Warlock in the patch. Also, I guess one final thing before we get too far in the video. One of my goals for this year, 2025, is to hit 100k subs on YouTube, which is, you know, been a goal of mine, I guess, for a long time. There's no kind of like monetary gain or anything for that, but you know, I got a plaque and stuff. It's pretty cool. In my wildest dreams, I never thought we'd even be anywhere near 20k. Or take. This game's taken me on a journey, and I greatly appreciate all y'all's support. I did notice that looking at analytics, about half of y'all roughly aren't subbed to the channel. If you find it in your heart of hearts, maybe consider subbing if you want to. If you feel inclined, maybe consider doing so. But at the same time, if you don't want to, it's okay. I love y'all all the same. But if you don't mind, maybe toss a sub. It would mean the world to me. And yeah, now let's actually get it going. Okay, so we're going to start off here looking at Demonology and single target stuff with the tier set on, and look at a little bit of AoE as well. Now, we're going to try and keep things as consistent as possible. I cannot test on the same dummies with different tier sets, because Destruction is only working on PvP dummies. Affliction, if I pop AoE things down here, it applies UA to 3 targets behind me. I'm going to try and make this work as best as I can and be as consistent as I can, but understand it's week 7 of PTR, week 6, and I'm I wish we could do this in a fully functional way, but I'm doing my best. I want to get this video out and, you know, all that. So we're going to open up here with normal demo stuff. I am playing this build here. It's the same build in retail for single target. Now, there might be a world where you play Flame Touch and single target due to our tier bonus with Dreadstalkers and all that. I want to point out that Dread Calling is working with the tier set, but Dread Calling is consumed by tier set procs, like the big Greater Dreadstalkers, which is likely a nerf, like not, it's likely like worse than regular Dread Calling. To a similar extent, Houndmaster's Gambit is it's not working with our tier set. We're still playing it for raw value. It's really impactful. If it did work with your tier set, it'd be very, very strong, so likely not going to work with it. But besides that, other things like Wicked Maw, Carnivorous, and Dreadlash is indeed working with our tier set. Just to clarify that those don't know what it is, whenever you Tyrant, you get a Greater Dreadstalker. Also, at just random times, you can hit a Jackpot and also get a Greater Dreadstalker. Whenever you cast Hand of Gul'dan, the Dreadstalker, the big one, and also the smaller ones will Dreadbite. This works in AoE, it works in single target, and it brings to question a lot of, is it worth casting one-shard Hand of Gul'dans and things in AoE if you have like a dog set out and you get a greater Dreadstalker proc, just in general? Is it even worth casting less than 3-shot Hand of Gul'dans in single target if you have 4 Dreadstalkers out and a greater one as well? Those will be some things which aren't done yet, but when they are, we'll get into it. For now, let's open up and look at the actual breakdown. So we're going to Siphon here and do a pretty typical opener for Demonology. Grimoire, we're going to Shadow Bolt, cast our bigger Vile Fiend here, cast Dreadstalkers. We got a proc there, so we're going to do a couple of Hand of Gul'dans. Bang, bang. And we're going to go into a Tyrant and just see what we can do. Trinket, Demonic Strength, whatever. The Greater Dog is right there. He's in there chomping. And I'll pull up the breakdown for you right here. It is indeed broken down by Greater Dreadstalker. At least it was. Right there, yeah. Greater Dreadstalker. Now, keep in mind, you can also proc these back to back. If you get like multiple Jackpots back to back. RNG is RNG, but it is always tied to summoning your demonic tyrants. Every minute, you're going to have this greater Dreadstalker damage effect. Now, on top of all that, you also have tyrant extensions and things. Tyrant extension and tyrant damage amp does not work with your greater Dreadstalker. However, the talent that modifies tyrant damage in Diabolus does indeed increase the damage of your greater Dreadstalker. We'll look at that in a minute here. I'll explain it, but either way, we have Tyrant in about 10 again here, which means, you know, going to be a guaranteed greater Dreadstalker. So we'll start setting up here, casting a Gloomhound, Dreadstalker proc, a couple hand of Guldans, you know, get to about 10 imps, give or take. Launch this final hand. Got an Mother proc, Tyrant, there we go. The greater dog is in there again somewhere. You can see in the breakdown, he's sitting there. 4.6, 4.5, 4.6. He is chomping. 7.7, give or take. He might have expired already. I don't know. But it's not like a terrible amount of just raw damage from the tier set. Now, like I said, there's a lot of play around possibly casting one-shard hand of Guldans in single target to proc your regular Dreadstalkers to Dreadbite with your tier set. Obviously an AOE as well. Is that a thing we want to do? Possibly. Not really sure. Now, outside of that, jackpot procs are RNG. They're guaranteed. I mean, outside of your tyrant cast, right? They're tied to your tyrant, but if you're not tyranting at that point, I've noticed the proc rate seems it seems relatively subpar when it comes to proc rate, just procs of jackpot, you know, which is probably the reason as to why, one of the reasons as to why we don't have like the greater like Dreadhound extensions and things as a part of Tyrant. If that was a thing, it would lead to even more RNG by proccing multiples in your ramp and going from there. But once again, greater dogs are in there. We're Tyranting here. Pull up damage breakdown again. Cast dogs here. Greater Dreadstalker is sitting right about here at 5.2%. Now, we'll stop here and look at the breakdown. It might seem like, okay, well, this might not be as good of a tier bonus because, you know, it's 5%, but you got to keep in mind, this is number one, single target. There's RNG, the procs of jackpot and things. And number two, it's not just raw greater Dreadstalker damage, right? It is also just damage to your Dreadstalkers. Like, look at our damage from Dreadstalkers here. In a single target, they are 12% of our damage, which is 0.5% behind our main pet. Right now, looking imp damage is, you know, about the same too, but this is a substantial increase to your Dreadstalker damage. Looking at Dreadbite being 6%, right here as well being 3%. The variance in like regular bites versus Dreadbites from tier set and things. It's actually a relatively strong bonus. I'd say even pretty strong, even in single target. And this is without optimizing around any kind of maybe less than 3-shard hand Golden cast in single target during your Tyrant when you have 2 sets active. Just random RNG is RNG. I've seen greater Dreadstalker in our breakdown, even in single target, around like 7% with better jackpot procs. But as far as jackpot is concerned here, where's the buff at? Can I even see it in here? Let's see. Jackpot. Yeah, I don't even see it. Is it working? Abyssal Dominion, which this is actually the effect that I was talking about a minute ago that is tied to Tyrant damage increase with Diabolus. So let me just Tyrant here. Interesting. Okay, well, we didn't get a jackpot in that Tyrant cast, which is interesting. We got a greater Dreadstalker. I guess technically, it's not giving a buff to jackpot, which is odd, but I mean, I guess theoretically it doesn't need to, because like it's not a haste increase like you have for Destro or AF or whatever it is. But either way, makes it a little hard to track the buff. But I've seen it higher for overall damage representation at times in single target, and also at times a little bit lower. RNG is RNG. Now, as far as the actual Abyssal Dominion thing, so to clarify, greater Dreadstalkers from your tier set, they do not get Tyrant extension, nor do they get the Tyrant damage increase here. So no duration extension and no 15% from Tyrant. Tyrant reads, your Tyrant increases damage of affected demons by 15%. The keyword is affected demons here, right? So Dominion reads your demons, not affected demons, your demons. Dog, greater Dreadstalker from your tier set does indeed get Abyssal Dominion's damage increase. So no from Tyrant, yes from Abyssal Dominion, which is tied to Tyrant. So a bit of an increase there. It likely pushes Diabolus further ahead of Soul Harvester, depending on some other unique interactions there, but that is that. So just to clarify, keep all that in mind. Now, when it comes to Demonology and its tier set and AOE, this is where things get really interesting. So, I mean, obviously this set affects our Dreadstalkers, both called Dreadstalkers and greater, you know, this thing, not Charhound, but the one from your tier set, right? It is a consistent buff. Demo's profile and plus is already pretty solid. You lack some utility that Destro and Af have, like Spell Lock and your Fell Hunter, Shorter Kick, Imp Dispels, and a couple other things here and there, right? Axe Toss being a little annoying, but honestly, this bonus is very strong in M+, and this is also putting aside any kind of weird, like maybe you want to cast one-shot Handy Gul'dans at a certain like mob threshold, maybe in general, because whenever you cast Handy Gul'dan from your 4-piece, whether it's a 1-shard or 3-shard, your Dreadstalkers cast Dreadbite at 50% effectiveness, and the damage is increased per shard, but like Dreadbite is a large portion of damage. It also procs Wicked Maw, or reapplies Wicked Maw, if it's falling, which it really shouldn't be in the first place in this bonus, but in general, it's all there. It's very synergistic, and there's that. I'm playing this build here. It might be a little different. You might want to end up putting a point, you know, over here somewhere else, give or take. Maybe pull like Grimoire for Impending Doom or something like that, if it ends up still being mediocre and dying and everything. We'll see where it goes. I'm playing this, so here we go. We're going to open up, I guess, semi-normal and M+, say you have some shards going to a pack. Cast Grimoire, build a little bit. Obviously, if you have, like, you know, Imp stored up, you get a faster little bit of, you know, opener here. But we're going to do this. We're going to pop this. Got a Tyrant, Trinket, Demonic Strength, whatever. And I'm just going to start cycling normal damage here. I'm not going to cast one-shot Handy Gul'dans. I'm going to do normal stuff. But you can see whenever I cast Handy Gul'dan, watch my dog's Dreadbite damage. Big damage. Big chomp damage there, right? And during Tyrant, you can also have 2 sets of dogs out. Like right now, I cast these dogs right into a Handy Gul'dan. They're all going to chomp again. Big damage. We're going to implode here. A bit late. Not a big deal. But if you look at the actual breakdown, dude, dogs are dominating. Dogs are sitting at 25%. Like, it's pretty wild. And this is also, once again, not optimizing around, like, doing one-shot Handy Gul'dans, if that ends up being a thing, which it very likely will, looking at how the tier bonus functions, right? Loading in here. Launch an Overlord, sort of mildly weaving dooms here, not paying a whole lot of attention, just sort of, you know, but yeah. Dogs, just continue to pull ahead. We're going to implode basically here. We have Tyrant coming up. Set up a Tyrant again here. Cast Charhound, we'll go into a dog. A few hands. I think we're getting a little bit of cleave over here. I don't know why, it's whatever. A couple hands, right into a Tyrant. Going to cast Demonic Strength. Do this. Watchdog damage jump here. Handy Gul'dan. Jumps like 0.5%, give or take. Like, they're just going, man. And even look at Greater Dreadstalker here. 5% overall. Cast dogs again here. We have 2 pairs of dogs active. Handy Gul'dan. It jumps 2%. Like it's insane. And the modifiers they have, they're critting 43% of the time. Demo's stack cleave profile in M+ is already very strong. It's not as like bursty as some other classes in a sense, but you can sustain an incredible amount of stack cleave. This bonus is solid in single target. It's obviously very strong in AOE, and like I said, we haven't even optimized around casting these one-shot Handy Gul'dans, or maybe you have a certain threshold of mobs to dogs or dogs to mobs and things during Tyrant where you can optimize a lot more. This bonus looks to be pretty strong. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily like super sleeper strong, because it's sort of known. Demonology lacks in certain areas, like, once again, spell lock out, shorter kick, imp dispel, some utility here and there. But it's not the end of the world. Destro looks very good too in M+ this patch, but I guess you could sort of say this tier bonus and just Demo sort of sleeper. That's how it is currently in 11.0, but we'll see where things go. But I think this set's very fun. The big dog's cool, and if you like dogs chomping, they're chomping again in 11.1. Alright, so we're going to look at Affliction in single target here. I am playing Soul Harvester, to clarify. I am playing Shadow Bolt. This is going to be an execute. I don't want Drain Soul to skew things too much. Now, at the same time, Affliction's tier is working, but it's proccing. It's spreading UAs on mobs, but not in combat way. So I had to come up here to a place where there's no other mobs around this dummy. We're going to do the best we can here. I think chances are high they need to buff Affliction's 4-piece by a large amount. The 2-piece gives you a haste proc with Jackpot. It's always going to proc when you cast Dark Lair, which is nice. Haste during CDs, very cool. Random proc's nice as well. Whenever you proc a Jackpot, it has a it will spread UA to up to 3 targets if there are targets around you, and it will increase UA's damage by 50%. Now, if this procs in single target, it is an incredibly subpar and undertuned 4 set. It likely needs to get the treatment that Demonology got in Dragonflight of S3 and S4, where if it procs in single target, like our Doomguard did, it would do a lot more damage. If it procs in like AOE or whatever, it will still spread UAs, but does less damage, right? So, for example, maybe if it procs in single target, it'll get a 200% UA increase. If it's like 2 targets, maybe like 150. 3 targets, like 100, maybe 4 targets, like 50%, or whatever, who knows. If targets do die with the spread unstable afflictions on them, they do give soul shards. So quality of life there, solid. At the same time, they have changed to focus malignancy. It's the same thing, but it now also works with the spread unstable afflictions. So if it procs in 4 targets, all 4 are going to get affected by focus malignancy. It does not work with TC. Hopefully they fix that too. That's more quality of life the way it used to be. You still have to drain your main unstable affliction target, even if it procs, which makes it very hard to tell where it's at. But hey, quality of life, don't mix. Anyway, so getting into the actual testing here. So we're going to open up like usual. Unstable affliction as a core spell for likely needs a buff as well. In addition to the tier set, it's very low, and for it being limited to 1 target and having a cast time compared to like Agony or whatever, it probably needs some help. So we're going to get pull this pet out. We're going to open up here. I am playing Soul Harvester. We are playing Shadow Bolt to not skew Drain Soul too much. It's whatever. Haunt, UA, Agony, Corruption. Going to cast 2 Shadow Bolts here to stack Shadow's Embrace, Singularity, Soul Rot, Dark Lair, Trinkets. There's the Jackpot. There's the UA. There's Jackpot right there. Dump some Raptures here. I'm going to refresh our Haunt here. Launch some Shadow Bolts. Got a TC proc. Very exciting times. Dump the rest of these, and like breakdown wise, UA is sitting around 10.1. It's gonna drop a bit here because once the actual damage increase falls, a bit less. But catch our Agony, catch our UA here, and just do normal AF maintenance stuff. Still going into those 1-minute windows of Singularity with Soul Rot, Soul Harvester, not overcapping on Nightfall procs, all that, whatever, what have you. Now we got a Jackpot proc here. So we're going to keep this rolling here. It's going to increase UA's damage breakdown here, obviously more in our overall count. RNG is RNG. At times you're going to roll a decent bit of jackpots. At times you're going to go without any at all. I have no idea what that is. Evoker stuff. Let's get that out of here. Disgusting Evokers. Agony refresh. We have a window coming up here about now for our minute CD, so we're going to refresh UA a little early. Singularity, Soul Rot, a little overcapped on shards. Doesn't really matter. It's whatever. I don't really care much right now. Dump this, refresh our Haunt, dump the rest of these Raptures, bang, bang, bang. Now we've gone a little while without a Jackpot proc here, and keep in mind, Jackpot is tied to Dark Lair, it's not tied to Soul Rot, so compared to Demonology, we had that minute, Jackpot with Tyrant, it is 2 minutes with that. There's a proc right there, actually, so you can see UA got a duration increase here. Look at overall UA's damage, you're sitting at 9.8, 10%, which, I mean, like, not the most flashy. Shadow Bolt is beating it out now. This is, we'd be playing Drain Soul and Execute here, which is even better, obviously, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll cycle back through for one more Dark Lair, show the breakdown, but honestly, I think this set needs a decent bit of help when it comes to like raw damage. I like the fact that it works with like shard generation and all that gets out of here. That it works with like shard gen if mobs die and all that, but it's still a bit too much. It's a lack of damage and like RNG with Jackpots proccing and all that. So we got a Jackpot here. Obviously we Dark Lair. I'm going to a Rapture dump here. UA sitting at about 9.9, 9.8. We're rapturing with damage increases here, so it's going to drop a little bit. But it's sitting around that 10% threshold. The thing is like Unstable Affliction being our main dot has a cast time on it. It's limited to 1 target, and it's like supposed to be our focused dot. 9.5 to 10% with a tier bonus based around it is very low. It should be probably 14, 15, give or take. As far as Jackpot's concerned, we had 2 from Dark Lair here. We had 2 natty procs over the course of, like 3 minutes, whatever it was here. 28% uptime, 48 seconds overall. So not an incredibly high proc rate. Seems to be about 1 per minute. Haven't looked, give or take. But yeah, not looking incredibly flashy when it comes to single target. Now, when it comes to Affliction's tier set in AOE, like I said, it is buggy and spreading to mobs that aren't in combat. It might spread a UA to one of these mobs in the back. If it does, I can't really help it. I'm going to attack these 5 it is what it is. It's week 6 of PTR. I have to start testing this stuff. Can you really do? Now, like I said, the cool thing about this is Malignancy does work to every mob that has UA spread to it with the tier set. That's a change this build. To a similar extent, if mobs die with the spread unstable afflictions on them, they do indeed give shards. So there's some quality of life there, some shard generation. Very rare for ash and quality of life to be in the same sentence, but hey, you know, it's working out maybe. So, jokes aside, we're going to go in here this pack. I am playing Hellcaller. That's what it is. Going to cast Seed into a Vile Taint here. Haunt, UA, normal setup stuff, whatever. Gonna Soul Rot here, Trinket, Dark Glare, Malevolence. So the UAs, one spread back there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is what it is. One spread back there. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna keep dumping these Drain Soul stacks here, rapturing more. Now, like I said, you have to drain your main target here for a chance at TC procs. I would love it if they added some quality of life in here, where you could just straight up be like, hey, you know, UA spread to a handful of mobs. I can drain any of these mobs for a TC proc and have that be the case, but that is not the world we live in. That's how it used to function back in the day, but yeah, well, you know, things change. So cast a Vile Taint here, gonna rapture a little bit. So I want to see if we can get a jackpot proc here as well. I don't know if we're gonna be able to, but we'll keep fishing for it either way. I need to watch these agonies so they don't fall here, which let's refresh 5 agonies manually. I'm probably gonna lose one. It is what it is. I don't know, whatever. Looking at the breakdown here, pull it up. UA is doing a whopping 5%. Very, very impressive. UA would do a bit on its own regardless in AOE, even though it's not really an AOE talent. We got CDs here. Gonna pop Rap or, you know, Malevolence and start going here. No jackpot procs again. Still fishing for one. Haven't really got anything here at all. Once again, jackpot is tied to your Dark Glare cast, not Soul Rot or Singularity or anything. So still waiting for a jackpot. Maybe we'll get one. I don't know. Gonna lose his agonies here. Probably wasn't paying attention. Let's go back to Burning Crusade quality of life and refresh 5 agonies manually. That was fun. Oh, now I can refresh an AoE again. Maybe at some point it will be fun to play in AoE. Still looking for a jackpot proc. Still looking. I don't know. I've seen it proc at AoE, like outside of, I mean, proc, like, you know, with no Dark Glare cast and things before. Maybe it's bugged here. I don't know. Like I said, some things just like aren't fully functional with tier sets and stuff right now. But I mean, it procced randomly on that mob a little bit ago when I was recording it. So I don't think there's like some weird bug with it. Oh no, it proc right there. There we go. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think they all spread in here. Yeah, it's perfect. That works. So we'll go into this here. Go into a Dark Glare. So we're gonna have basically like a jackpot rolling into a jackpot again. This time we had a UA spread back here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually have 7 UAs active right now, which is very cool. So honestly, a positive here that I didn't know. That's a really cool thing to see. You can have multiple UAs active, like past the 4. Like it actually was sort of smart there and spread to mobs that didn't have UA on them. Because the jackpot procced, and then it spread UA again when I Dark Glared. So that's actually a positive. It'll spread again to other mobs in like a 5+ target AoE. So I had 7 UAs rolling there. Now the downside is that it's a solid 5.9% overall. Let me see. Here is, I believe this is the tier set. And here is UA. So yeah, a whopping 3%, or whatever, when it comes to AoE. Now Rapture is a little bit in there too, because Malignancy, gaining benefit from it all, but yeah. This bonus in AoE is not incredibly strong at all. Factor in Malignancy, you know, Rapture damage increase and shard gen from it all. And the cool effect of just actually spreading like 7 targets there was really, really cool. I didn't know that was a thing. That's cool. Nice quality of life there, I guess. But same time, 0 times 0 is still basically 0. So hopefully we get some buffs to that set. We'll see where it goes, but let's look briefly at Destruction. Now, when it comes to Destro tier testing, the only place you can test Destro tier is actually on a Dungeoneer's training dummy, which is like there's one here in Dagazaggalore. It does not work on PvP dummies. It's only this one right here. It is bugged on every other dummy in the world, and it only works on this dummy and in like dungeon/raid and plus stuff, right? So I can't really show Destro AoE a whole lot here. If it's ever fixed, I'll look at it doing it, but I mean, it's week 6 of PTR, and I don't know if it's going to happen. We had done a handful of dungeon runs on beta as Destro. They're on the channel and stuff. You can take a look at it. So I'll show you a single target here in a sec, but I also want to hit on briefly something that Malakath caught. This is sort of This relates to the Destro tier set nerfs that came in a couple days ago. Destro's tier set, the 4-piece that gives mastery, was indeed nerfed from, I think it was 3 to 1%, 6 to 2% essentially. I'm pretty sure the numbers are correct. But he went on to mention they manually reduced the amount of mastery points from 3, which gave 6% mastery, to 1, which gives 2% mastery in this build. Now, there are things like mastery points and raw mastery. Some specs, for example, like he mentions here, 1 mastery point for AF is 2.5%, Destro is 2%, and Demonology is 1.45. This is why if you're playing Destro and you have 60% mastery, you change to AF, it'll be 85 or whatever it'll be, and Demo will be 44, you know, with the correct percentage conversion and all that. So we're not really sure if that was like an intended change, but it was actually a bigger nerf to the bonus, the 4-piece, about a, if my basic math is right here, I guess a 66% nerf overall, roughly, instead of 33 or whatever it's supposed to be. It is quite possible that they over nerfed the 4 set. Not really sure where it's going to go. Here is the data mine change, base value 3 to 1, all that. This happened in last week's PTR build, I guess this week. Now, we don't really know, I don't really know where things are at sim-wise at this point. When they start coming out and get pushed a bit more, probably whenever we get a date for the actual PTR, we'll be able to look at where Destro's tier set is at. I'm assuming it's still pretty decent in M+, and as far as rating is concerned, we'll see. It looks to be a good Destro raid, it looks to be a good Hellcaller raid, so hopefully it all works out, but wanted to bring that to attention. Now, I'm playing this build right here. There's a handful of builds out there. Some play Burn to Ashes, some play Crashing Chaos and Single Target, whatever. I'm playing this, play what you want. Doesn't matter. I want to look at what the actual tier bonus does here. Now, the 2-piece does indeed give you Jackpot whenever you cast your Infernal. So Jackpot is, you know, tied to a 2-minute cooldown, same as AF for Dark Lair, Destro 2-minute Infernal. The 4-piece hitting a Jackpot gives you a bit more mastery. Just hit on that, and it also launches a flurry of 6 Demon Fire bolts at 200% effectiveness. So we'll take a look at it here and see where it's at damage wise. Once again, I'm sorry this is a bit scuffed, but it's week 6 of PTR, I think, and I gotta do what I gotta do. So we're gonna open up here like usual, precast a Soulfire into, you know, Infernal stuff, Pop Trinket, whatever, Shadowburn, Conflict stuff, all that. Now, that like green CDF barrage there, that was indeed from my tier set. Jackpot is right there. If Jackpot reprocs, you'll see an Ember, I guess a slew of Embers fly in on the mob here. Now, as far as like raw breakdown is concerned, it's a bit loud, turn this down. We're looking at CDF doing about 5% there off that Infernal proc, which, I mean, in single target, that's not terrible, but a big part of this is like the proc chance or overall proc rate of Jackpot, your bonus. We're already down to 3.7, 3.5, 3.3, and without another proc here, in single target, not looking incredibly impactful, but at the same time, I've had pulls where I've chained jackpots almost back to back. I've had a jackpot proc on top of a jackpot, so it's sort of RNG. I mean, it just baseline is right, but unfortunately, like the main guaranteed jackpot proc is indeed tied to your Infernal still, which, well, is a 2-minute CD. A bit surprised you haven't got another proc here, actually. We've gone over a minute and only seen 1 jackpot. CDF is sitting at a solid, where is it even? Oh, 1.8. It's almost off the screen. Very exciting times indeed. Hoping for another jackpot here. I'm going to keep going until we get one. Big Mommy procs in. Good to see her. Hello. We have Infernal in 40. So I'm praying we get one more before my Infernal comes back around. But I guess we shall see. Ruination. Throw a Shadowburn in here. There's a jackpot right there. Bang. There it goes. So handful of Embers flying in again there. There's your mastery increase. We're looking at it sitting right about 2.3%. There's your 12 Embers that have hit, so, you know, 2 procs, 6 and 6 basically. We have Infernal in about 14, so we'll wait for that. And yeah, maybe one more proc for the road possibly. Maybe proc me again, Ian. That'd be super sick. That's okay. We don't really need to. We got Infernal. Oh, there's one right there. Bang. There's one. Here's another one from my Infernal. Holy moly. Here we go. Look at that. Very exciting times indeed. Can I get a third one? Can we get a third proc for the road? That'd be so sick, dude. That's okay. We didn't need it. Now, CDF is sitting right about there at 4.5%. So if you factor in more targets like an M+, look at the proc right there. Now it's sitting at 5.1. No. Sorry, 5.0. There you go. If you factor in more targets, like the bolts do actually cleave, so That's impactful in AOE and M+. Obviously, you have like Wither extensions and Malevolence and all that. The profile feels very good in M+. When it comes to like single target and things, maybe like, you know, spread Havoc cleave, we'll see where it goes. The raid looks like a good Destro raid, good Hellcaller raid, good Havoc, you know, cleave kind of raid. A lot of spread cleave in this tier. But tier set wise, very curious to see if we end up buffing the 2-set like rifts back a little bit more here, or if the bolts and the 4-set mastery thing needs to be either looked at, adjusted, or at least addressed, because it's a little confusing at this point. Unfortunately, no way to show Destro AOE, but if you want to look at dungeons and things, they're on the channel. Probably run some more tomorrow, or probably today on stream too. So thanks for watching, guys. It wraps it up, and hopefully it gave y'all a better, I guess, maybe look or understanding of how Warlock tier is currently functioning on 11.1 PTR heading into the later parts of PTR. Now, raid testing has already concluded. I mean, they might do some more. We've tested the raid a lot. Dungeon testing has a week and a half or so left. We're looking to get into some testing more this week, Friday and Saturday, probably today, whenever this video comes out on stream and all that. Probably some M+ runs we uploaded and all that. Want to look at how AF is with the tier set and all that. It's not incredibly strong, I would assume, but still want to go from there and get a better feel for it. If you guys want any week wars or add-ons or anything like that, once again, links to Twitch, Discord, and the website up here, as well as down below in the description. And like usual, a massive shout out and thank you to all my supporters on Patreon for all that support, guys. Thank you all a million times. I greatly appreciate it. It lets me keep doing what I'm doing for y'all, making content and everything, and I just greatly appreciate all the support. If you're looking at joining a Patreon or looking at early access to the Warlock 11.1 PTR spreadsheet, you know, link up here as well as down below. It's for the tier 3 Felguard rank or higher, but it always does go public for free, like always, every time before the patch goes live. So probably the next couple weeks, give or take, depending whenever we get a release date for the patch. I'm hoping that Warlock, I mean, I'm assuming AF's going to get some buffs to his tier set, and hopefully just some class buffs in general to AF. I think Destro is really good this raid, but with other classes being tuned now, it might be a case of, yeah, we're solid in the raid, but we're not tuned necessarily properly, and we'll see where it goes. But this does feel like a very good Hellcaller raid, a very good Destro raid. I think at this point, a lot of fights could be double Warlock fights, playing Destro and Hellcaller stuff. So, fingers crossed. We'll see where it goes. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll catch y'all again soon on stream. Peace.